It all began with a feeling, a cold whisper brushing the back of my neck, telling me something was wrong. I'd always seen myself as a trusting husband, someone who believed in the strength of our vows. For 10 years, Lydia and I had built a life together, or so I thought. But over the last few months, something had shifted. Lydia had become distant, emotionally absent in ways I couldn't ignore. She was glued to her phone, always giggling at messages she wouldn't let me see. She started working late more often than usual and began taking an unusually sharp interest in her appearance, makeup, perfume, sleek outfits. She said it was for her confidence. But it didn't feel like it was for her. Not anymore. I wanted to believe her.
God knows I did.
I told myself I was overthinking, just being paranoid. But then came the night I found the receipt. It was wedged inside her purse, crumpled and hidden beneath an old lip balm and a half-eaten granola bar. It was for a dinner at a romantic downtown restaurant, the kind of place with candlelit tables and a reputation for proposals. A place we'd never been together. When I asked her about it, she stumbled through some excuse about a work dinner, her eyes darting to the floor like a child caught sneaking out. A work dinner, right? I didn't press her that night. I could have. I could have demanded the truth, raised my voice, shattered the silence with accusations. But something held me back. Something told me to wait, to gather proof. If I confronted her too soon, she'd just lie again. And I'd be left looking like the fool. So I did what any desperate, broken-hearted man might do when his gut tells him the truth before his brain is ready to accept it. I became a detective. At first, I watched quietly, noticing how she guarded her phone like it was her lifeline, always angling the screen away from me. But I was patient, and soon a pattern began to emerge. A number kept appearing, over and over again. Messages at all hours, little things like "can't wait to see you" or "missed you today." The contact name was saved as Kara. But I knew better. Kara didn't send texts like that. One evening, while Lydia was in the shower, I used the passcode I'd memorized weeks earlier and unlocked her phone. My hands trembled as I opened her messages. And there it was, undeniable, in plain black and white. A thread of messages from someone named Mark. Mark, with his smooth compliments. "I love the way you laugh. When can I see you again?" And Lydia's replies? They made me sick. She told him she missed him, that he made her feel alive, that she couldn't wait for the next lunch meeting. I wanted to storm into the bathroom right then, demand answers, scream, cry, do something. But I didn't. I held it in, because I wanted more than just the truth. I wanted her to feel what I felt. I wanted her to break the way she had broken me. So I waited. And I planned. The opportunity came quicker than I expected. Lydia had been prepping for weeks for a huge presentation at her marketing firm. It was a big deal, some startup client that was supposed to make waves in the industry. She was excited and nervous, constantly rehearsing, picking the perfect outfit. That morning, I kissed her goodbye and wished her luck. She smiled, her lips brushing my cheek gently. I wondered if she'd kissed Mark the same way. As soon as she left, I moved. A quick stop at the florist. A detour to a coffee shop. By noon, I was parked just outside the client's downtown office, watching through the window as Lydia stood at the head of the boardroom, confident in her sleek black dress, charming everyone. The perfect professional. The devoted wife. My jaw clenched. I thought about the lies she'd told to get there. When the delivery driver arrived, I handed him a small box and gave the instructions. "Make sure it goes directly to Lydia Thompson," I said. "She's expecting it." Of course, she wasn't. From my car, I watched as the driver entered the building and handed her the box. 10 minutes later, I saw it. Chaos. Lydia stopped mid-sentence. She opened the package, probably expecting flowers or some sweet congratulatory gift. Instead, she found printed screenshots of her text messages with Mark, neatly stacked, and on top, a handwritten note. "You're not as clever as you think you are." The room fell still. Her face turned ghostly pale. Her hands trembled as she flipped through each damning page. Around her, the client team, men in sharp suits, exchanged confused looks, their attention shifting to her. I couldn't hear what was being said, but I didn't need to. Her expression said everything. And then there was Mark. I had done my homework. Mark was her coworker, a smooth-talking account manager with a wife and 2 kids. I knew his address, his social media, even the school his children attended. I debated whether or not to involve his family, but decided on a more direct route. After Lydia's presentation imploded, I followed her to the usual coffee shop where she and Mark often met. She didn't notice me. I was seated at a corner table in the back. Mark arrived, slid into the seat across from her. They spoke in frantic whispers, Lydia's hands fluttering nervously as she tried to explain. That's when I stood up. "Mark, isn't it?" I asked, looming over their table. He looked up, confusion, recognition, then fear flashing across his face. Lydia gasped, her mouth opening and closing like a dying fish. "Who the hell are you?" he asked, but his voice was shaky thin. I dropped a stack of photos on the table. Mark and Lydia, entering hotels, leaving bars, laughing together in his car. "I'm the husband," I said coldly. "The one you've both been lying to. The one you've been screwing over while playing house with my wife." Mark's color drained. Lydia reached for my arm, tears spilling down her cheeks. "David, please, let's talk at home." "We'll talk," I said, shaking her off. "But first, I think Mark needs to explain something. See, I already sent those photos to your wife, Mark, and to HR, figured they deserved to know what kind of people they're employing." You can't do that," he stammered. "You'll ruin me." "You ruined yourself," I snapped. "You both did. Did you really think there wouldn't be consequences? That you could destroy someone else's home and walk away untouched?" Lydia collapsed into sobs, her hands covering her face. Mark sat frozen. I turned to leave, but paused for one final blow. "Oh, and Lydia?" I said over my shoulder. "Don't bother coming home. The locks are changed. Your things are in storage. And I've already contacted a lawyer. Good luck explaining this to your parents." I walked out. Her sobs echoed behind me, but I didn't look back. For the first time in months, I felt free. Epilogue. In the weeks that followed, Lydia tried to reach out, apologies, explanations, promises to change. I ignored every single one. Mark's wife filed for divorce. He was fired after HR investigated the evidence I provided. As for me, I focused on rebuilding. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. They made their choices. Now, I was free to live with mine.